welcome to the Last Goodbye channel. Ruslan, why so early?
Tanya's voice trembled like a string stretched to its limit as I stepped into the hallway, kicking off my soaked sneakers.
What, do I need to clear my schedule with you now?
I threw my backpack on the floor, and it landed with a dull thud on the parquet. The air carried the scent of her perfume, sweet, with a hint of vanilla, the same one she wore on special occasions. Except this occasion, it seemed, wasn't for me. She stood by the living room door, gripping the doorframe so hard her fingers shook.
Her eyes, usually warm, brown, sparkling with laughter, now darted around like a cornered animal.
I pulled off my jacket, not yet understanding what awaited me but already sensing something was wrong. Tanya smoothed her hair, short and slightly disheveled, and forced a smile.
Too forced. No, it's just.
I wasn't expecting you. She took a step toward me but froze, as if hitting an invisible wall.
Are you hungry? I made borscht. Borscht?
I smirked, looking down at her.
You hate making borscht. What's the occasion? And then I heard it. A rustle. Quiet but distinct, coming from deep inside the apartment. Like someone awkwardly shifting their weight.
My gaze snapped toward the living room, and Tanya paled sharply, as if paint had been wiped from a canvas.
Who's there?
I stepped forward, moving past her.
She flinched, grabbing my sleeve. Ruslan, wait. Let's talk first. Talk? I yanked my arm free, feeling everything inside me boil like water in a kettle before the whistle. Who exactly is there to talk to?
I stormed into the living room, and there it was, the surprise.
Ilya.
Standing by the sofa, wearing my shirt, one I hadn't seen since last winter, with tousled hair and an idiotic grin that immediately slid off his face like dirt under a stream of water. In his hands, a glass of wine, my wine, from the bottle I'd saved for our anniversary.
On the table, remnants of dinner.
Plates of half-eaten pasta, crumpled napkins, and her favorite lavender-scented candle, already burned low.
I froze, staring at him, then at Tanya, who had rushed in after me, pressing her hands to her chest as if that could fix anything. What kind of circus is this, Tanya?
Ruslan, she started, but her voice cracked, and she coughed, as if the words were stuck in her throat.
Are you serious?
I turned to Ilya, who set the glass down and raised his hands in surrender.
What the hell are you doing here? In my house? In my shirt?
Listen, bro, it's not what you think. Ilya stepped toward me, but I was already on the edge.
Bro? He dared call me that now? Not what I think. Then what? You two playing charades? Or putting on a one-man show?
I grabbed a chair and hurled it, not at him, but close enough that he flinched.
Tanya shrieked, covering her face. Ruslan, stop.
She lunged at me, but I pushed her back, not roughly, but sharply.
You don't understand. What's there to understand?
I was nearly shouting, my voice hoarse with tension.
My wife and my best friend. How long has this been going on, Tanya? A month? A year? Or since that trip to Sochi when you said you were going with your girlfriends?
She stayed silent, only her lips trembling, her eyes filling with tears.
Ilya coughed, trying to cut in. Ruslan, I didn't mean to. It just happened. We didn't plan. Just happened?
I stepped toward him, and he backed into the wall.
You feeding me bullshit?
Just happened is when you spill coffee, not when you're screwing my wife behind my back.
Ruslan, enough.
Tanya clutched my arm, her voice breaking into a shriek.
You want the truth? Fine. It's been going on for a while. And it's my fault, not his. I froze, staring at her.
Her face, so familiar, with the fine wrinkles around her eyes I'd always loved, now looked like a stranger's. She exhaled, dropped her hands, and spoke quieter, but each word hit like a hammer on a nail.
You're always at work, Ruslan. Always busy. And I'm alone. All the time.
Ilya was there when you weren't. He listened, he talked to me.
And you?
You didn't even notice how I'd changed.
Changed?
I almost laughed, but it got stuck in my chest, turning into a lump.
That's what we're calling it now? You cheated on me, Tanya, and I'm the one to blame for working my ass off so we could have everything? I didn't want to lose you. She shouted it so loud the walls echoed. I tried talking to you, but you brushed me off. And he was here.
Ilya stayed silent, staring at the floor like a beaten dog. I turned to him, feeling everything inside me collapse like an old house under a bulldozer.
And you, bro?
I spat the word like it burned my tongue.
How many times did you lie to my face? Remember when we clinked beers on the balcony and you rambled about your new girlfriend? Was that her?
He looked up, and I saw not guilt but defiance in his eyes.
Ilya straightened, jaw clenched. Yeah, I messed up.
But you let her slip away, Ruslan.
She's not a thing to just sit and wait while you play big boss.
I lunged at him, but Tanya stepped between us, arms spread.
Enough. Both of you. Her voice shook, but there was anger in it now. I'm not a doll for you to fight over. This is my mistake, and I'll deal with it.
She looked at me, and for a second, I saw something old and familiar, the Tanya I'd met 15 years ago at a bus stop, with a polka-dot umbrella and wet sneakers. But it vanished just as fast, replaced by exhaustion.
Leave, Ilya, she said quietly, not looking at him. And you, Ruslan, if you want to. I need time.
Ilya nodded, grabbed his jacket from the sofa, and brushed past me. The door slammed, leaving Tanya and me in ringing silence. I stared at her, the woman I'd loved most in the world, and realized something had broken. Not today, but long ago, quietly, like a crack in glass spreading under fingertips.
Did you really want this? I asked, my voice hoarse and unfamiliar. She didn't answer.
Just sat on the sofa, arms wrapped around herself, staring at the floor.
And I walked to the door.
Not because I wanted to leave, but because staying was unbearable.
I'm Ruslan, 42, an engineer at a factory.
Tall, with gray at my temples that Tanya always called distinguished. I like order, clarity, everything in its place. I work a lot too much, I realize now. Always thought it was for us, for our future. She's my Tanya, 39, with short chestnut hair and a habit of fiddling with her earrings when nervous. Works at a library, loves books and old movies.
We married young, right after university, and I thought I knew her inside out. Turns out, I didn't.
Ilya, my army buddy, 40, slightly slouched, always with messy hair.
Works at an auto shop, a jack of all trades.
Loud, funny, with stories that used to make Tanya laugh till she cried.
I trusted him like a brother. And look how that turned out.
I stepped onto the stairwell, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. The air was cold, smelling of dampness and other people's dinners somewhere. Someone was frying cutlets, and a baby cried upstairs. I leaned against the railing, feeling the metal dig into my back, and pulled a pack of cigarettes from my jacket pocket. My hands shook, the match snapped, and I cursed aloud, tossing it into the darkness below.
Finally lit one, took a deep drag, watching smoke dissolve under the dim hallway light.
My chest ached, like someone was poking it with a blunt needle, over and over.
What now? Where do I go? I couldn't go home, not now, with Ilya in my shirt and Tanya's trembling lips still burned into my mind. I went downstairs, sat on a bench by the entrance.
The asphalt glistened from recent rain, streetlights reflected in puddles like shattered mirrors. People walked by, a couple with a dog, an old woman with a wheeled cart, a guy with headphones.
Normal life. And inside me war. My phone buzzed.
I pulled it out, hoping and dreading it was Tanya.
But no. Mom.
Her voice, warm and slightly raspy, cut through like a light beam in a basement.
Ruslan, where are you? Why don't you call? I wanted to feed you borscht. I exhaled smoke, throat tightening.
Mom, petite, with gray curls and endless worry in her eyes.
She always knew when I was hurting, even from 100 kilometers away.
Mom, I'm fine, I lied, staring at my shoes. Just tired. Tired, he says, she sighed, and I could practically hear her shaking her head.
Come over, son. Stop moping alone. Where's Tanya?
Home, I said shortly, and she went quiet. Mom never pried, but she sensed everything, like a dog sensing a storm.
All right, she finally said. Door's open if you need it. Come for borscht.
I hung up, stuffed the phone back, and smoked the cigarette down to the filter. Mom's voice thawed me a little, but inside, I still felt hollow, like a burned-out forest. Then I heard footsteps.
Looked up, Tanya.
In an old jacket, hood pulled low, a bag over her shoulder. She stopped a few steps away, staring at me like I was a stranger.
Where are you going? I asked, sharper than I meant to.
To Lena's, her sister, who lived across town.
I need to think. You should too. Think? I stood, feeling anger rise like a wave again. About what, Tanya? You cheated on me, and now I'm supposed to philosophize?
She pressed her lips together, stepped closer. Her eyes glistened, not with tears, but something else, sharp as a blade.
Did you ever even ask what I needed?
Her voice was quiet but firm.
I'm not excusing myself, Ruslan.
What I did was shitty, yes.
But did you even see me these past years? Or was I just furniture to you?
I opened my mouth to reply, but the words stuck. She was right and not right. I worked, built our life, while she sought warmth elsewhere. It was a gut punch, but I suddenly realized it wasn't that simple.
So what now? I asked, quieter. Divorce? Or you gonna keep seeing him?
She shook her head, adjusted her bag.
I don't know. But I can't go back to how it was. And you think, Ruslan. What do you want? Me? Or just the habit?
She turned and walked to the bus stop, and I watched her go, a small figure in a gray jacket, dissolving into the evening fog.
The bus arrived, doors hissed, and she was gone.
I stood alone, a cigarette but in my hand, my head buzzing.
The apartment was quiet. Too quiet.
I turned on the kitchen light, opened the fridge, pulled out soup.
Microwaved it. As it heated, I sat at the table, staring at my hands. Broad, calloused from tools, with a wedding ring I hadn't taken off since Tanya slid it on 15 years ago. Half a lifetime.
The doorbell yanked me from my thoughts.
I opened it, Ilya.
Not in my shirt now, in a worn denim jacket, red-eyed, fists clenched.
What do you want? I didn't move, blocking the doorway. We need to talk, he met my eyes, no trace of his earlier cowardice. I'm scum, Ruslan. But hear me out. Go on, I crossed my arms, feeling everything inside me tighten like a string.
I didn't mean for this, he fidgeted with his zipper.
Tanya, she called me 6 months ago.
Said you were never home, that she was lonely. I came over, just to talk.
Then, it spiraled. I fell for her, bro. Like a kid. And she did too. She told you that? I narrowed my eyes, keeping my voice steady.
Not in words, he looked away.
But I felt it. And today. I knew it was over. She won't leave you. Not really. I stayed silent, processing. Ilya fell in love. Tanya, did she? Damn it, how do you even untangle this? Why tell me? I finally asked. So I'll pity you?
No, he shook his head.
So you know. And to say, I'm leaving. For good. Got a job in St. Petersburg, leaving tomorrow. Don't want to stand between you anymore.
He held out a hand, but I didn't take it.
Just nodded. Good luck, I said and shut the door. Not a slam, just a quiet click. Let him go. His choice. I went back to the soup, sat down to eat. Pea soup with croutons. And suddenly, I thought, Tanya's right. I didn't see her.
Didn't notice her smiling less, wearing brighter lipstick like she was begging for my attention.
And me?
I built a career, postponed vacations, promise later.
Well, here's later. My phone buzzed again.
A text from Tanya, at Lena's.
I'm sorry. Let's try again. If you want. I read it, set the phone down. Didn't reply. Didn't know what to say yet.
But something stirred in my chest, not anger, not pain, but something warm and fragile, like the first sprout after winter. A month passed after that night when everything fell apart. The divorce was quiet, like an exhale after a long scream. We signed the papers at the notary's. She stood in her gray coat, back straight, while I stared at her signature, as neat as ever. "Good luck, Ruslan," she said finally, and I nodded, wordless. I left her the apartment, not out of generosity, but because I didn't want to drag the past with me. Moved to a one-room on the outskirts, bare walls, a view of the industrial zone. A clean slate, and I didn't know whether to be glad or not. Then Lisa appeared. We met by chance, in a park where I went to clear my head. She sat on a bench with a thermos and a book, red curls escaping her knitted hat. 34, a barista with a swallow tattoo on her wrist and a habit of squinting when she laughed. I sat down, asked what she was reading, something about travel, and she suddenly said, "You look like someone who lost the map but kept walking anyway." I smirked. "Maybe. And you?" "Me? Just drinking coffee and waiting for adventure." She handed me the thermos. One thing led to another, and a week later, I was at her place, a tiny studio with colorful pillows and the smell of cinnamon. She cooked pasta, humming, and I watched her, thinking, this lightness, like breathing, was what I'd missed with Tanya. It started one evening while watching a romance movie. Lisa sat cross-legged in an oversized t-shirt and shorts, her knee brushing my thigh. On screen, the leads kissed in the rain, and she turned to me. "Ever kissed like that?" "Don't remember," I admitted, and she grinned, mischievous, sparks in her green eyes. She leaned in, and we kissed. Her lips were soft, mint gum on her breath, hair smelling floral. My hand slid under her shirt, traced her waist warm, slightly damp from the heat. She exhaled against my neck when I ran fingers down her spine, laughing softly. "Ticklish." "Deal with it," I whispered, and she mock-punched my shoulder but pulled me closer. Her shirt hit the floor, then mine. We moved to the bed, narrow, with a rumpled blanket. She lay back, looking up at me, and I paused, admiring red hair fanned out, freckles on her shoulders like constellations. I traced her neck, feeling her shiver, while her hands explored my back, nails lightly scraping. Slow but burning, her breath hitched when I touched her breasts, and she pulled me closer, murmuring something incoherent. Later, she rolled on top, hair curtaining my face. When it was over, she collapsed beside me, breathless, and said, "You're an animal." "And you're a wildfire," I replied, and we both laughed at the ceiling. Tanya and I never saw each other again. Friends said she moved to the coast, to paint, to live for herself. I was glad for her, though I never said it aloud. She found her path, like I did. Lisa became my fresh start. We met almost daily. She dragged me to exhibits. I taught her my mom's borscht recipe. She never asked about Tanya, and I never told. The past stayed behind the door, and I liked it that way. Once, walking along the embankment, she linked her arm with mine, leaning in. "Are you happy?" she asked, watching the water. I thought for a second, feeling the wind in my hair, her warmth at my side. "Yeah," I said. "You?" "Hell yes," she smiled, and I knew she meant it. Mom called, grumbling about me rarely visiting, but when she heard about Lisa, she softened. "Bring her, let me see this girl." I promised I would. Life moved on, not perfect, but mine. I took off the ring, tucked it in a drawer. Didn't throw it away, kept it as a memory, but didn't want to wear it anymore.